Hey everybody, this is John. Welcome to the free video. What a crazy week. An awesome week, a fun week, most profitable trading week of the year by far. On the premium video, I kind of wrapped up the trades and also just kind of talked a little bit about the mindset of, after a big winning week like that, you just got to kind of take relax a little bit. I'm going into the weekend like 90% cash. That way I can relax this weekend. Sunday night, doesn't really matter what happens. I'll be okay. But the question really is what happens at this point? So for me, I would be shocked if this market just goes straight up from here. I am looking for it to roll over and retest the lows. I don't know exactly when, but it would make sense that we could actually start that process next week. At the very least, just retrace half of this move, okay? Couple of the internals here that have me looking at this. First of all, on the VIX, it's spiked up and now it's pulled back kind of to support, right? So from here it can rip higher. And the other thing that I really pay attention to in markets like this is called the skew. Anytime the skew gets over like 130, the odds of a sell-off increase exponentially, okay? And you can see here how high it was, boom, and now here we are again. So again, the way this is setting up is boom. So that's the overall idea. And what was interesting is that in a couple of questions that I got in this market are from people that are like, hey, it's great. These kind of markets are interesting. They're fun. Although it does require a little bit more attention, you got to be kind of watching things sometimes real time. If you're working during the day, you have to do a little bit different strategy. But a couple of people ask us like, well, what are the, if you want to keep it as simple as possible in this kind of market, what are the type of setups and what type of stocks should you focus on? So one of the things you want to keep in mind, and it doesn't matter kind of what the market is doing. I mean, believe me, the markets right now are awesome. You want to do positions on the markets and stuff like that. But in terms of the kind of setups to the long side that I'm looking for, because I think in something like this that if you've got, say, puts on the spiders, what happens if the market starts to rally all of a sudden? Or what happens if the market just kind of gets back to normal, right, and starts doing some stuff? Well, there's a pattern here that I really like in IPOs. GoPro here is a great example of this. So what happens in a situation like this is you have a company, it goes public. What I like to see is that there's some initial demand, right? And then we just kind of base out and then start forming kind of a tight base. And typically by this time on a popular stock, options will start trading on it, okay? And this is kind of like the best time to get in it with options, and you typically will get the best move. Now, there's 5 things that need to come together on something like this. Okay, so what's the right kind of IPO to look for? Where do you find lists of IPOs? Are there certain industries, et cetera, that you want to look at? But overall, those are one of my favorite trades in normal markets, but they're especially fun in this kind of market, especially if you're working full time, because these are the kind of trades you can just put on and set it and forget it, right? And of course, if you're trading full time, you can do them too. And even Twitter, which you guys know is a dog right now, still had that same pattern where you come up, you base out, and then boom, okay? And again, it's kind of like, all right, what are the type of stocks that do that? How repeatable is that pattern? Very, et cetera, et cetera. So that's one kind of stock that I want to look for. And then the other one are stocks that are within 95% of their either 52-week or better yet all-time highs. These in this kind of market, okay, you can see how strong this stock is. This is the kind of stock, whether call options, selling puts, whatever, I'd want to be long while potentially having some put options on the spiders for that retest of the lows. And this is kind of the best of both worlds, because this way, if you're making a bet that the market's going to roll over but it takes off, you're covered. So it's kind of a perfect hedge, because these kind of stocks oftentimes when the market rolls over will sometimes still advance. So I love this as kind of a safety bet. The other stock here, SCMP, same thing. All-time highs, doesn't care what the market's doing, and it's a perfect hedge to be long a stock like this while some kind of bearish positions on an index, all right? Okay, so back to the options on IPO class. So this is one where we've gotten a ton of questions on. This is just one of those simple classes where I can show you kind of like how this works, what's setting up now, small $97 investment. Okay, the idea with this is that one trade with one contract can pay for the class. I'm going to do this class on Tuesday night. Okay, and we'll probably, once this is over, we'll probably cover the current markets as well. Obviously, it's kind of crazy, right? A little bit more in depth. So you can go to simpleroptions.com/options IPO or option SIPO, depending on how you're reading that. So again, this Tuesday, September 1st, 8 to 10 East Coast time. If you can't make it, it'll be recorded. I'm going to be talking about how you can use the power of leverage to trade options on IPO stocks, how to time your buys so you're not buying the most expensive options, how to use options to catch shorter term price bursts that IPO stocks are known for, the option strategies you want to use to trade IPO bases. By the way, I don't know if you guys know this, IPO bases are the most powerful bases on the planet on any kind of stock. So you can go through and go like, okay, here's 12 different categories of stocks or markets, and how much movement comes off the average base. By far, the highest one is IPOs. Okay, that's kind of part of the secret is being able to identify that. The common mistakes traders make with IPO stocks and how to avoid them. And of course, one of the things is how do you find these stocks? I mean, where do you find them? Which ones are going to be trading options? By the way, if you're newer to options and you've never traded them, there's a bonus class available. If you're new, it's essentially, hey, look, here's a beginner's guide to options and more than that. Okay, so again, this is something where I think it's just very simple. Quick $97 gives me a quick incentive to put together a complete class so we can go over this, because the idea with this in this kind of a market, I think by default, we're going to be wanting to focus on bearish the indexes, but as a hedge, setting up call options on IPOs that technically obviously would do well if the market reverses on us. Okay, so it's kind of a perfect hedge, but at the same time, these things can go up while the market's going down. All right, so super excited about this class. That's the link. You guys have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you at the next update.